Welcome to the Power of Care Spotlight. I'm Larry Moliterno with Meridian Community Care, and we're here today with Chief Jack Nichols of the Boardman Police Department. And Boardman is one of the largest communities here in the Mahoning Valley, and I know that just in the time that you've been with the police department, which goes back quite a few years, right, Jack? We won't say how many.
34.
Okay. But as the police chief, you're dealing with the work that we do in helping people with addictions. You're seeing the other side of that from a law enforcement perspective.
Absolutely. Well, I've made the comment publicly that in my first 25 years at the police department, I didn't see a total in 25 years of 20 instances where we actually wrote search warrants and raided locations of drug sales. And now we do at least one a week. As a matter of fact, just yesterday we did 2 in one day. So it is absolutely at epidemic proportions. And
I've had the ability to go out with your team when they go out and do some of these raids, and what you're finding, it sounds like almost every single time it's heroin.
Yeah, 90% of our drug arrests today are heroin. And in addition to that, when we make arrests for things like that you might consider smaller crimes like shoplifting, thefts, breaking into autos, almost very large percentage of the people that are arrested are found to be in possession of needles and spoons, which are indicative of heroin use.
And most of the raids that you're doing, we're talking about dealers now mostly, or
right. What will happen is a drug location will be identified, and our narcotics officers will conduct an investigation over several weeks and establish facts that heroin or drugs are being sold from a location, and then we serve a search warrant, and the service of that search warrant then is termed a drug raid. And we basically go in and make arrests and search the location and obtain evidence and prosecute people for narcotics violations.
And I think if I remember right, there was even a situation where we had someone who was doing some armed robberies, and we were actually able to track the fact that he would get enough money from that armed robbery based on what we projected to be his heroin use. You could almost get a sense of when he would strike again.
That's correct. You can predict based on the amount of money that they get pretty much how much they're using each day and when the next robbery will be.
Well, and one of the things I guess I appreciate about your approach to this is that I think over a period of time, law enforcement can get pretty calloused because you're really seeing these folks at their worst. But I think what you've been able to do is you have that unique ability to be able to separate the individual from this disease of addiction.
Well, you know, in my personal life, I got exposed a little bit to it, and it's pretty eye-opening as to what happens here. And I would say that the one thing that's really come to my mind is I've come to the realization that we cannot arrest our way out of this. We need to partner with organizations such as Meridian, such as the courts, such as the clergy, to try to come up with a solution to slow this epidemic down or stop it.
And I really agree. I think that what it's coming down to now, there needs to be a community approach to this. And I think now, because the heroin epidemic has gotten to where it is, people are now starting to realize that, thankfully. And I also know that you sort of have a sense of what you see about, the guy who gets up in the morning who, has that heroin problem. He knows he's going to have that horrible problem. He knows he's going to go through that withdrawal, and he knows the only way he can do that is to maybe steal or rob his way out of it. And how conflicted that individual is throughout the course of that day.
Sure. Well, we've come to know that they're not bad people, they're sick people. And every day they wake up with that need to obtain $200 or $300 or $400. And they're not employed, so they have to commit crimes to get that, or else they face that terrible sickness.
Well, we really appreciate your leadership and your approach to how you led the Boardman Police Department in addressing this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Moliterno.
Thank you so much.